You stand at the river's edge, where evening light softens every surface and the world seems to exhale with you. The water moves without effort. So do you. Your breath slows not because you tell it to, but because the river quietly invites it. The air carries a faint coolness, like a clean sheet turned down for the night, and somewhere far away there is a low, friendly hum, the sound of the universe minding its own business. Here time does not tick. It drifts. It glides past your ankles like clear water, uncounted and unbothered. You notice how different this feels from the clocks, those small impatient circles that demand attention. The river asks for nothing. It simply moves. You let your shoulders drop, just a little. Gravity is still doing its job, but it feels polite about it. Light rests gently on the water's surface, breaking into long reflections that stretch and tremble when the current shifts. You watch them ripple. You watch them return. Nothing is lost. Nothing is late. This is where science begins, quietly. Not with noise, not with numbers, but with noticing. You begin to sense that time behaves less like a ruler and more like this river, responding to how you move within it. When you are still, it gathers around you. When you imagine motion, it seems to loosen its grip, like water parting around a stone. You smile softly at the thought. It feels strange, but not uncomfortable. The universe, it turns out, is flexible in ways that favor calm curiosity. If time were rigid, everything would feel sharp. Instead, it flows. You imagine stepping closer, toes brushing the edge. The water is cool, but not cold. It welcomes without pulling. This is important. Time does not chase you. It does not push. It allows. Somewhere in the distance, a leaf drifts past, spinning slowly, making no progress and perfect progress at the same time. You notice how peaceful that looks. The leaf is not late. The leaf is exactly where it should be. A tiny part of you relaxes, as if it has been waiting to hear that. The idea forms gently now, like mist rising from the surface. Motion and time are connected. Not emotionally, physically. The faster something moves through the universe, the differently it experiences the river of moments. You don't need proof yet. You don't need explanations stacked like stones. For now, it is enough to feel how natural the idea seems, how it fits the shape of the water in front of you. You breathe again. Even your breath feels like a current, flowing in, flowing away, never stopping, never hurrying. If breathing had a personality, it would be this river, calm and persistent, quietly keeping you alive without asking for applause. A small smile flickers. It is mildly amusing, in a gentle way, that something as serious as time behaves like something so relaxed. If clocks knew this, they might loosen up. They probably won't, but it's nice to imagine. You stay where you are, listening. The river makes a sound that is barely a sound at all, more like a feeling. A soft hush. A continuous whisper. It reminds you that change does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply happens, patiently, beneath your awareness. You notice your body settling further. The muscles in your face soften. Your jaw releases. Your hands rest comfortably, heavy in a good way. The ground beneath your feet feels stable and warm, holding you without comment. The river does not mind your weight. Time does not mind your presence. You think briefly about all the moments that brought you here. They feel distant now, like bends in the river already passed. They mattered. They still do. But they no longer need your attention. The water has carried them onward. There is reassurance in realizing that time is not something you must outrun or manage. It is something you are already inside. You have always been inside it. Like water around a swimmer, it shapes itself to you as much as you shape yourself to it. You sense that standing still is also a kind of movement, a quiet one. Your thoughts drift, not far, just enough to loosen their edges. They float like small boats tied gently to the shore, bobbing without urgency. You do not need to follow them. They are content to stay nearby. The river continues to teach without speaking. It shows you that time is not the same everywhere, just as water is not the same at every bend. Near the bank, it lingers. Toward the center, it moves with more confidence. Neither is better. They are simply different experiences of the same flow. You find comfort in that. It suggests that there is no single correct pace for a life. Some moments drift. Some glide. All of them belong. Your breath matches the water again. In each cycle smooth and complete. You feel as though you are being gently tuned, like an instrument settling into harmony with the room. Nothing is forced. Nothing is corrected. You are already enough. A quiet anticipation settles in. Not excitement, not fear. Just the gentle awareness that stepping forward will change how the water feels around you. You do not rush this moment. You savor it, like the pause before sleep when the body knows rest is coming and welcomes it. For now, you inhale slowly, as if preparing to dip your toes into the water, and you let the river breathe back. The surface shivers softly, hinting that deeper currents wait just ahead, curving gently, ready to show you how time itself learns to bend. You remain still, listening, as the idea settles and the night grows wider, opening the path toward the river's first slow curve. You float on that thought, unhurried, while the water quietly invites you onward. Gently, you step a little closer to the river, and the water welcomes you without surprise. It curls around your ankles, smooth and cool, adjusting itself as if it has always known you would arrive. Nothing splashes. Nothing startles. The movement is quiet, almost polite, like the river is careful not to wake you fully. You breathe in slowly. The air feels different here, slightly heavier with moisture, slightly softer in texture. It rests against your skin like a gentle blanket that remembers your shape. As you exhale, the river seems to exhale with you, the surface bending into small, relaxed curves that catch the fading light. This is where you begin to notice something subtle. The river does not move in straight lines. It never has. Curves, not because it is confused, but because bending is its nature. Time, you begin to sense, behaves the same way. You let your feet drift forward another step. The current is a little stronger here, though still calm. It slides past you, shaping itself around your legs, deciding where to hurry and where to linger. You realize that the water closest to you feels slower than the water farther out, even though it is all part of the same river. The thought settles gently. If water can move differently in different places, why wouldn't time? The idea does not feel radical. It feels obvious, the way truths often do when they arrive without shouting. You imagine floating leaves nearby, each one carried at its own pace. Some drift lazily near the shore. Others glide smoothly toward the center, where the river seems more confident. Each leaf experiences the same river, yet each one feels a different journey. None of them are wrong. Your shoulders soften as the metaphor sinks in. Time is not a single speed imposed on everything equally. It adapts, curves. It responds to motion the way water responds to a body moving through it. You breathe again. The rhythm feels unforced now, like it has synced itself with something older and steadier than thought. There is a low, distant hum in the background, barely audible, like the universe clearing its throat and then deciding not to speak after all. You begin to understand that when you move through time, time moves differently around you. The faster you imagine drifting, the more gently the current seems to touch you. It is not intuitive, but it is comforting. The river does not punish motion. It accommodates it. A small smile appears, almost without your permission. There is something quietly humorous about the idea that speeding up makes time feel softer. It is like discovering that walking briskly through rain makes you feel less wet. The universe apparently enjoys these small ironies. You stay with the feeling rather than the explanation. No formulas appear. No numbers demand attention. Instead, the river shows you its lesson by being itself. Curving banks, layered currents, a surface that stretches and compresses depending on how you look at it. You notice how reflections behave here. Light bends across the water, elongating into gentle streaks that wobble and reform as the current shifts. Nothing breaks. Everything adapts. It reminds you that bending is not damage. It is response. Time, like this water, does not snap when asked to change. It stretches. It yields. It remains whole. You feel safe enough to drift your attention deeper. The idea of relativity settles in not as a heavy concept, but as a quiet observation. When you move, time responds. When you slow, it gathers. When you imagine great speed, it thins out like silk drawn carefully between fingers. You are not in a hurry to test this. There is no urgency here. The river is patient, and patience feels contagious. Your thoughts slow, spacing themselves out like stones laid gently across the water. You listen again to the sound of the current. It is steady, reassuring, unbothered by your presence. You could stand here for a long time and the river would not mind. Time, it seems, is generous with space. You take another breath, longer this time. Your chest rises slowly, then falls, the motion mirrored by the soft swell of the water around you. In this moment, breathing feels like participation rather than effort. You are part of the flow, not separate from it. The idea grows clearer now. Time does not resist motion. It reshapes itself around it. The faster something moves through the universe, the more time curves in response, like water bowing around a smooth stone. You find this strangely comforting. It suggests that the universe is not rigid or fragile. It is flexible. It expects movement, plans for it. A gentle warmth spreads through your body, as if understanding itself has weight and temperature. Your muscles loosen further, reassured by the thought that nothing here is dangerous or demanding. Even the science feels kind. You remain aware of the river's edge behind you, the place where you first stood still. That moment has not disappeared. It simply exists upstream now, part of the same continuous flow. Nothing has been lost by moving forward. You glance toward the center of the river again, where the current curves more dramatically. There is a sense of invitation there, not a pull, just a suggestion. If you were to drift faster, the river would change how it holds you. The question arrives softly, like a leaf landing on the surface. If time bends when you move, how far can it stretch? You do not answer it. You let it float. Your breathing remains slow and even. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. The longer exhale feels especially good, like setting something down after carrying it for too long. The river hums quietly around your legs, curving onward, and you allow yourself to drift with the question rather than toward an answer. Ahead, the water darkens slightly as the evening deepens, hinting at faster currents and deeper bends still to come. You remain calm, curious, and unhurried as the river carries you forward, gently, toward the place where still water and swift water begin to disagree. You float farther into the river now, letting the current brush against your legs and arms. It is warmer here, slightly deeper, carrying a slow, rolling energy that feels alive without urgency. You let your shoulders sink a little more. The air hums softly around you, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and the distant, rhythmic chorus of insects settling into evening. Somewhere far away, a bird calls once, then drifts into silence, and you almost smile at how gentle the world is. You notice that the water behaves differently in different places. Near the edge, it lingers, curling softly, making small pools that wobble and shimmer in the fading light. Toward the middle, it moves more confidently, sweeping past in quiet swells that carry you forward without effort. Neither motion is better. Neither is wrong. They are simply different ways the river exists. You rest into that thought. Time behaves the same way. The universe allows multiple rhythms to coexist. Some experience moments slowly, deliberately, near the shore. Others glide through them swiftly, toward the center of the flow. Both are correct. Both are natural. Your breath deepens. The river hums along with you, low and continuous, as though it approves of your noticing. The surface catches the last light of day, stretching it thin into long golden streaks that wobble when you shift your weight. You reach down, fingertips brushing the water, and feel the gentle tug of currents moving differently in tandem. It is almost playful, as if the river is amused by its own variety. A small chuckle escapes you, soft and almost imperceptible. You imagine the river shrugging, smiling in its own liquid way. The thought is brief, whimsical, and warm. You feel lighter for it, You focus now on your inner clock, the quiet rhythm that has always ticked inside you. Your heartbeat, your breath, the subtle pulse of your cells. The river flows around this clock, slowing it gently or letting it drift more freely depending on how you move. You do not rush. You do not measure. You simply notice. You imagine two travelers, one drifting lazily near the bank, feeling each moment in rich, slow detail. The other gliding toward the center, moving fast, observing the river's patterns in long, soft streaks. Neither is missing anything. Neither is cheating time. Both are experiencing it fully in their own way. Your body relaxes further. Your back rests against the gentle swell of the current. The muscles in your neck and jaw soften. Your hands float effortlessly in the water. The warmth from your skin and the cool of the river blend like a whispered lullaby, settling the edges of thought. You notice the surface again, seeing how small eddies form near stones and branches. Time pools here as well, not because it is slow, but because the flow bends around obstacles, shaping itself naturally. These quiet swirls are beautiful, gentle, and instructive. They remind you that moments, like water, are never lost. They are simply redirected, often into patterns more intricate than you first imagined. A small leaf drifts past. It spins slowly in place for a moment, caught between two currents, then continues toward the center. You watch, feeling a serene connection. The leaf experiences both swirls without resistance. You are the leaf. You are the river. You are exactly where you are meant to be. You breathe again, deeper this time. Your exhale stretches long and gentle, as if letting the river carry not only your body, but the weight of all unnoticed thoughts. The hum of the water vibrates against your chest, soft and consistent. You feel held. You feel seen. You feel safe. You reflect on the idea of aging, not as a countdown, not as decay, but as movement through the river. Faster motion allows the clock within you to drift more slowly. Slower motion allows it to savor each ripple. Neither is superior. Both are valid. The universe accommodates both rhythms without judgment. You notice a subtle warmth spreading in your chest, the comfort of understanding without pressure. You imagine yourself as part of the river itself, flowing, bending, curving around obstacles, stretching and gathering with every turn. The water mirrors the movement inside you, subtle and continuous. There is harmony here, not control. There is presence, not urgency. A gentle curiosity arises. What happens if you continue toward the center, where the water moves more confidently? You do not need to answer yet. It is enough to sense the question, to allow it to drift alongside you, soft as a cloud over calm water. Your breath remains steady, in tune with the rhythm of the river. In each cycle a tiny wave in the vast current of time. The evening deepens. Shadows stretch across the water, darkening the spaces between the light. The river hums on, untroubled, carrying all motion equally. You imagine that, like time itself, it does not punish differences. It accommodates, curves, reshapes, and continues. Even as the center moves faster, the edge lingers. Both currents exist simultaneously. Both are beautiful. You notice your thoughts drifting again, loose and fluid. Some circle like small ripples near the bank. Some surge forward like the faster water in the center. You do not chase them. You do not resist them. You let them move naturally, like the river carries the leaves. A tiny smile flickers at the corner of your mouth. The quiet humor of this moment, the playful insistence of a river that can hold stillness and motion simultaneously, warms you. Even science can be playful when it whispers instead of shouting. You appreciate that softness. You appreciate the space to float without expectation. Time feels alive in a way that is gentle and generous. You do not need to measure it. You do not need to control it. It is already moving perfectly, like the water under your fingers, around your ankles, beneath your chest. All of it flows as it should. A soft thought surfaces. The river is teaching you about contrast, about speed and stillness, about the coexistence of different rhythms. You understand that the universe itself is flexible enough to allow multiple currents, multiple rates of flow, all in harmony. There is no rush. There is no pressure. Only presence. The water ahead darkens slightly with evening, hinting at curves yet unseen. You sense, without urgency, that faster currents await. You feel neither fear nor impatience, only gentle curiosity. The river carries you forward, flowing in waves both slow and swift, toward the deeper bends where still water and swift water meet, softly, quietly, perfectly. Your breath matches the current again. In long, soft. The question lingers. What happens when motion and stillness disagree? You float onward, unhurried, while the river curves gently into the next lesson, welcoming you into the place where time itself begins to stretch in surprising ways. You drift farther into the river, and the current begins to notice you. It responds, not with force, but with subtle acceleration, like a cat stretching lazily before a nap. Your body feels lighter in some places, grounded in others. The water is cool and reassuring, but also alive in a way that hints at hidden depth. You breathe in, slow and steady. You exhale, letting the current carry not only your body but your thoughts, soft and pliable. You notice the river's shape changing beneath you. It curves more sharply, as if preparing to embrace a wider, faster channel. The reflections of the sky stretch into elongated streaks. You watch them ripple like silk drawn between gentle fingers. Time feels different here. It stretches, elongates, without pressure, without alarm. It simply adjusts to the flow. There is a quiet revelation. You are approaching the river's limit. Not an end, not a danger, merely a boundary the water itself cannot exceed. Light, though invisible in its speed, exists like the width of the river. No current can outrun it. Everything else is free to bend, curve, and drift, but the river's own natural limit hums softly, omnipresent, guiding the flow. You float, feeling your heartbeat settle into this new rhythm. Your inner clock seems to slow slightly, though not unnaturally. You notice your cells, your breath, your pulse, all moving in harmony with the river. It is as if the universe has whispered, "You may drift as fast as you can, and still remain whole." You feel the reassurance deep in your chest, the warmth that comes from understanding without effort. It is comforting, like the memory of a familiar melody, or the touch of a soft blanket over your skin. A gentle joke flickers in your mind. Perhaps the river itself chuckles at its own elegance. It can carry a leaf lazily along the edge, a swimmer through the center, and a thought through the current, all at once. All are valid. All are moving. And the river does not care who is faster. It is amused softly, gently, and you allow yourself to share in that amusement. You notice the surface of the water stretching, almost imperceptibly. Ripples pull apart and thin as they move past you. The reflection of the sky is elongated, like a watercolor brushstroke across glass. Time, too, thins in this current. It slows in your perception without urgency, without friction. Your inner moments lengthen, like slow drifting clouds in a wide, open sky. There is no resistance. There is only flow. Your breath follows this gentle elongation. In, longer out. Each inhale lifts slightly, each exhale carries lightly. The rhythm is a wave beneath your awareness, a tide beneath your chest, a lullaby whispered by the river itself. You think of the travelers from before, near the shore and toward the center. Both exist in the same river. Both feel different currents. Now you, too, approach a speed that the river has always known, but that you have not felt. It is not frightening. It is simply new, soft, curious, full of potential for gentle discovery. The water shifts beneath you, rising and falling with quiet insistence. You notice the edges of the current ripple more rapidly, though the middle remains steady and supportive. It is a paradox of calm, motion without strain, speed without anxiety. You imagine that even a leaf drifting here would sense the difference, yet float effortlessly. Everything in the river finds its pace, its balance, its proper rhythm. Your body begins to sense something unusual, but not alarming. The passage of time feels stretched, like a blanket pulled slowly over your shoulders. Your heartbeat seems more distinct, yet less urgent. Your breath follows, elongating naturally. You do not command it. It flows with the river. It is not forced. It is present. You feel a delicate wonder. If speed changes perception this gently, what else might it touch? Your thoughts drift, soft as petals floating downstream. They do not need direction. They do not need labels. They simply move, in harmony with the current, in rhythm with the quiet music of the river. The surface of the water reflects the fading light differently now. Streaks of gold and silver stretch long and narrow, bending softly around your fingertips as they skim the surface. You imagine the river itself, patient and composed, aware of its limits, aware of its potential. You sense the physics without numbers, without data, simply through perception, through presence, through your slow, steady breathing. A tiny humor drifts to mind. Even the river might marvel at its own elegance, carrying the fastest leaves and the slowest thoughts in perfect harmony. You chuckle softly with it. It is shared amusement, quiet and without obligation. Your body feels lighter, your mind softer, and your heart calm. You consider the boundary of light again, not as a rigid rule, but as a gentle horizon. No current may surpass it. Yet, within that limit, everything is possible. You can glide, drift, stretch time in your own perception, feeling yourself lengthen and deepen in the water. Your inner moments expand. The river, infinite in small ways, supports it all. Your breath mirrors the motion, in soft and long, a wave beneath your awareness, a tide within your chest, a gentle current wrapping around your heart. Even as you move faster, nothing is lost. Everything is preserved, elongated, held with tender care. You allow your imagination to drift, thinking of the river as a teacher. It is patient. It bends without breaking. It stretches without tearing. It allows you to feel time's elasticity, to sense aging as something pliable, responsive, alive. There is no threat here, no judgment, only observation and presence. You notice how the river adapts around every obstacle, every stone, every tiny swirl. Each eddy and swirl teaches you the same lesson. Time adjusts to motion, it yields, it curves, and it preserves the whole. There is a subtle elegance in this. It is almost humorous, in a quiet, universe kind of way. Time itself is polite and precise, without demanding your attention or labor. You float, noticing that even the darker patches of water do not unsettle you. The current remains gentle, supportive, alive with potential. Your body feels as though it could drift forever, held by invisible hands of understanding, flowing in rhythm with the universe itself. Your pulse, your heartbeat, your slow, deliberate breathing, they all feel lighter, elongated, harmonized with the river's deeper swells. A faint anticipation arises, gentle and without urgency. What if you could drift like this for a long time? What if the river could carry you steadily, stretching moments, slowing time without effort? You do not rush to answer. You do not need to. The question floats alongside you like a delicate leaf, perfectly in place, perfectly safe. Your breath deepens, expanding softly in your chest. In. Each cycle matches the current, and the current matches the universe. It is a rhythm both ancient and immediate, gentle and precise, endlessly patient. The evening grows deeper. Shadows stretch and blend across the river's surface. The water hums quietly beneath you. It is steady, persistent, unhurried. The current curves gently, ready to carry you toward the next lesson, toward the point where the river's hidden potential becomes visible, where motion and time meet fully, bending and stretching in quiet perfection. You float there, soft and calm, feeling the river's invitation. Your body and mind are aligned with its gentle pace. Your inner clock ticks softly. Your heart drifts with the flow. You float quietly, letting the river cradle you in its gentle current. The water hums softly, low and steady, like a song you almost remember from childhood. Your body feels light, yet grounded, as if the river itself supports both your weight and your awareness. The air carries a faint warmth, soft against your cheeks, blending with the cool shimmer of the water beneath. You inhale slowly, feeling your chest rise, and exhale, letting tension drift away with the gentle swell of the current. You notice the clock inside you, the one you carry silently, always present. Your heartbeat, steady and patient, measures nothing but your own passage. Your breath follows its gentle rhythm, rising and falling like a small wave. Even your cells have their own quiet ticking, unhurried, intimate. You realize that the river of time flows around this inner clock, shaping and responding to it without haste or judgment. You imagine two travelers, each drifting on different parts of the river. One floats near the slow bends, where the water curls softly around rocks and pools in gentle eddies. The other glides through the middle, where the current carries them confidently, swiftly, yet without rush. Both move through the same river, both share the same sky, both are touched by the same fading light. Yet they experience time differently. Neither is wrong. Both are perfectly aligned with the river's own pace. A faint smile curves your lips. It is curious and gentle, the kind of humor that arises without force. Even in this vast, flowing universe, the idea that two clocks can beat differently yet both be right seems quietly funny. You almost imagine the river itself chuckling beneath your fingertips. The water is playful in its own subtle way, bending around each traveler, twisting currents with delicate precision. Your awareness drifts deeper inward. You feel the slow, luminous stretch of moments that form your inner rhythm. The river adjusts around it, easing its passage, elongating seconds into soft waves. There is no urgency here, no measurement, no expectation, only gentle presence, as the universe carries you in rhythm with your own heartbeat. The river whispers that motion shapes experience. The faster you move, the more the clock within you stretches its moments, like silk pulled gently between fingers. The slower you linger, the more it gathers, thickening in depth, savoring every ripple. You feel this personally, quietly, as if the current has whispered a secret to your body alone. It is a reassurance. You are not being hurried. You are exactly where the river wants you to be. Your hands float lightly in the water, fingertips skimming the surface. You notice small ripples forming in response, concentric waves spreading gently outward. Even your touch changes the rhythm of the river, just as your motion adjusts the pace of your own inner clock. It is intimate, almost conspiratorial, a secret exchange between you and the water. You breathe slowly, and with each exhale, you feel the clock within you pulse more softly, more deliberately, in perfect harmony with the gentle swell around you. You consider the travelers again. One's clock ticks a little faster, the other a little slower. Yet both drift peacefully. Neither loses time, neither gains it in the conventional sense. Time is not taken from one or given to another. It is something you move through. It flows around you, with you, inside you. You notice warmth spreading through your chest. It is a subtle, luminous comfort, like sunbeams slipping through leaves on a late afternoon. The river carries not only your body but the feeling of understanding, soft and tender. You feel supported, as if both the universe and your own awareness have conspired to slow the world just enough for you to notice. A tiny, quiet amusement drifts into your mind. Perhaps the universe itself finds it funny that clocks inside travelers tick differently, yet everyone drifts on the same river. It does not matter, and yet it matters perfectly. The humor is soft, unobtrusive, a small star twinkling in a vast, calm sky. You smile at it. The river smiles too, or so it feels. You float further, noticing how your own rhythm interacts with the current. Your heartbeat, steady and intimate, moves in waves beneath your awareness. Your breath matches it in long, soft cycles. You realize that your inner clock is not trapped. It is traveling. It adapts, responds, flows. You are not chased by time. You are carried through it safely, serenely. The river curves gently ahead, leading you toward deeper waters, wider currents. You sense that the farther you drift, the more your inner clock elongates, without effort, without strain. It is subtle, almost imperceptible, but you feel it in your chest and in your limbs. Moments stretch into soft pools, Minutes drift like clouds over water, and you glide along without noticing where one ends and the next begins. Your awareness drifts outward again. You notice stars beginning to appear overhead, tiny pinpricks of light mirrored in the river's surface. They shimmer softly in the ripples, reflecting the gentle motion of the water and the slower rhythm of your own internal clock. Even the universe seems to be breathing with you in slow, synchronous waves. There is nothing missing. There is nothing lacking. Everything exists in its proper place. You take another long, slow breath. In. Each inhale a gentle lift, each exhale a quiet settling. Your heartbeat pulses in harmony with the river, a perfect, patient rhythm that needs no measurement. The water holds you, the current flows with you, and the river seems to hum a quiet lullaby that only you can hear. You imagine drifting like this for a long time, moving with the current and the gentle pull of your own clock. Each moment stretches into the next, soft and luminous, unhurried, free of pressure. The river flows around you, beneath you, beside you, carrying both body and awareness in a calm, eternal embrace. There is safety here. There is patience. There is understanding. A gentle curiosity stirs. How real is this? Not in terms of proof or data, but in terms of experience. You feel it in your chest, your limbs, your breath. You feel time bending around your presence, responding to motion, to stillness, to the rhythm of your heart. It is real. It is palpable. It is tender. You glance toward the wider center of the river. The current there promises deeper stretches, a new rhythm, a subtle acceleration that is still calm, still gentle. You sense that the next bend will teach you more, revealing how time and motion intertwine, how speed shapes experience, and how your inner clock continues to drift, unhurried, unafraid, infinitely adaptable. Your breath settles into the current once more. In slow and even, the river hums beneath you. You float toward the center, knowing the water will carry you further, toward the proof written in gentle experiments that await just beyond the next curve. Softly, you let go, letting the river teach, letting the river guide, drifting into the next lesson, calm and unhurried, carried by the gentle, endless flow. You float into the deeper stretch of the river, feeling the current widen and wrap gently around you. The water moves like a slow, deliberate breath, carrying a low hum that vibrates softly beneath your chest. The evening is deep now, colors muted, shadows stretching across the surface like long, careful brushstrokes. You inhale slowly, chest rising, and exhale, letting the current carry not only your body but your awareness. Light as a leaf drifting on a gentle eddy. Somewhere, quietly, the universe listens. Experiments have been done, softly, delicately, without alarm. Clocks carried along the river of motion return slightly younger. Particles that move swiftly linger longer before decay reaches them. The proof is gentle. It does not shout. It does not demand. It whispers in careful tones, confirming the truths you already sense in the hum of the water, in the stretch of your own heartbeat. You watch the river bend. Each curve, each ripple, is evidence in its own quiet way. The water does not need numbers to show its behavior. It flows, curves, accelerates, and pools naturally, demonstrating the same principles that science has observed with patience and care. It is a tender confirmation, a soft reassurance that what you feel is real. You feel the truth resonate in your chest, in the rhythm of your breath, in the delicate pulse of your inner clock. A faint, gentle humor arises. The universe is careful, almost shy about proof. It offers hints and nudges, leaves signs in leaves and water ripples, and lets you arrive at understanding at your own pace. You smile softly. Even the evidence seems playful, like a teacher showing a secret trick only to those willing to notice. You drift a little closer to the river's center, where the current moves confidently. The water flows around your body, shaping itself as you move. Your inner clock, the one that measures your heartbeat and your cells' rhythms, responds quietly. The faster the water carries you, the more your perception of moments stretches, gently, peacefully. Time seems to thin like silk pulled slowly across fingers. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is urgent. You imagine scientists, long ago, observing without intrusion, noting particles and clocks with soft, deliberate attention. They move with curiosity, not pressure. Their instruments hum quietly, capturing truth without demanding it. It feels intimate, this careful observation of nature. Like a whispered conversation, the universe replies with subtle gestures and soft confirmations. You feel part of that conversation now, floating, breathing, drifting in harmony with its gentle rhythms. You notice the surface again. Small ripples expand outward from stones and twigs, forming patterns of flow that are complex yet soothing. These currents are proof in motion, visible to the eye, felt through sensation. You sense that the river is teaching you the same principles that experiments revealed, only without the need for numbers or graphs. Motion shapes experience. Time responds to movement. Everything bends in harmony. Your hands float lightly in the water, fingertips tracing invisible lines. Each touch sends gentle waves outward, like soft echoes of your presence. Even this small gesture is proof. The river reacts, not violently, but gracefully, confirming its own rules in a language you feel rather than see. You smile at the subtle poetry of it. Science is here, but it is soft, tender, and patient, much like the river itself. You consider your own inner clock again. Ticks and flows in concert with your heartbeat, your breath, your pulse of cells. The river shapes it, the water carries it, the current elongates moments gently. This is not fantasy. It is proof you can feel. The universe accommodates speed and stillness alike, giving each traveler the gift of their own rhythm. No one is late. No one is rushed. No one is wrong. A tiny, soft joke flickers in your mind. Even atoms, when moving swiftly, linger longer than expected. The universe itself seems amused by its own subtle tricks, bending the rules just enough to delight those who notice. You laugh quietly, chest rising and falling with the current. The river hums in agreement, a low, continuous sound that resonates through your bones. You feel the connection. Playful, patient, deeply kind. You float farther, letting the water wrap around you, carrying you toward the deeper bends where speed and stillness intersect. Each stretch of water feels deliberate, every ripple a gentle illustration of the truths already whispered. The river flows in waves that are precise yet tender, slow yet confident. You notice the interplay of currents, how some pull faster, some linger near the banks, how the surface bends and stretches like liquid proof. It feels like understanding without effort. It feels like wisdom that arrives on the soft tide of experience. You think of the travelers again. One moves near the shore, the other toward the center. Both age differently, both experience time uniquely. Science confirms this, but the river shows it in living motion without demanding recognition. You feel this deeply in your chest, in the rhythm of your breath, in the subtle pulse of every cell. The truth is calm. The truth is gentle. The truth flows, uninterrupted, beneath your awareness. You notice your body resting further into the current. Your back curves softly with the river's swell. Your legs float, buoyed by the gentle motion. Even your hair, if it brushes the water, moves in harmony with invisible eddies, delicate, unhurried. You sense the quiet lesson. Science does not have to disturb, does not have to overwhelm, to reveal its wisdom. Observation itself can be tender, patient, and infinitely kind. A quiet curiosity emerges. If speed changes time, what about other forces, other currents, unseen pulls? Gravity waits. You realize, deeper in the river, sculpting hidden flows and shaping gentle bends. You do not rush to understand. You do not need to. The question floats alongside you like a leaf, perfectly content to drift, patiently waiting for the moment you are ready. You inhale slowly, letting the chest rise. You exhale, letting the river carry the weight of thought. In the longer exhale stretches moments. The soft pulse of your heartbeat elongates. The water hums beneath you. You feel aligned, present, gently aware. The river has been measured, observed, loved into understanding. And now, in your own presence, It whispers the same truths without words. You glance toward the wider, deeper channel ahead. It promises new lessons, subtle currents, and gentle surprises. The river curves slightly, preparing to carry you into stretches where gravity deepens its flow, where time pools and bends under weight, where your inner clock will respond in new, unexpected, soft ways. You float calmly, chest lifted by the gentle swell, aware that everything you feel is real, tender, and perfectly in place. Your breath matches the current once more. In soft, slow, steady. The river hums beneath you, carrying both proof and wonder, carrying motion and stillness in perfect harmony. And as you drift toward the next lesson, toward the place where gravity deepens the river, you feel the gentle promise of understanding waiting quietly, without pressure, without rush, only soft, patient flow. You drift deeper into the river, where the current changes subtly, becoming weightier, more deliberate. The water no longer slides only past your limbs. It gathers, pressing softly around your body as if cradling you. The air is heavier now, humid with the quiet strength of unseen pulls. A low, distant hum rises beneath the surface, almost imperceptible, resonating with the hidden depth of the river. You inhale slowly, feeling the chest expand. You exhale, letting the swell of the current carry you further, deeper into this gentle gravity. The river feels different here, not faster, not turbulent, just full. You sense weight in the water, a soft insistence that everything beneath you has mass, and that mass changes how the river flows. The current bends around it, shaping itself naturally, patiently. It is not overwhelming. It is steady, supportive, tender. You imagine the river like a landscape of valleys and hills. Time pools in the low places, lingering softly. It thins and stretches across the ridges, flowing swiftly, yet gracefully. Each moment is molded by the contours of unseen forces, just as your own awareness stretches and gathers within your chest. The universe is neither harsh nor abrupt here. It is careful, deliberate, and infinitely patient. Your heartbeat matches the river's deeper swell. Slow, steady, unhurried. Your breath follows in long, soft waves. The exhale stretches like the surface of the water itself, releasing tension you may not have realized you carried. The river teaches you patience in its weight, a gentle reminder that gravity shapes time as surely as speed does. You picture valleys where the water pools, bending around rocks or shallow banks, and the flow slows, allowing ripples to gather and eddies to form. You notice the hills, small rises in the riverbed where the current stretches and thins, moving a little faster, gently pulling leaves and tiny waves along. Each formation is deliberate, each curve precise, and yet it is soft, unpressured. You imagine that time behaves the same way, pooling in quiet places, stretching along rises, always flowing, always adapting. A quiet warmth spreads through your chest. You feel anchored, supported, as if the river itself is holding you upright in its deep embrace. The pull of gravity is not frightening. It is nurturing. It slows time in your awareness, stretching your inner clock softly, elongating moments in a way that feels intimate and kind. You are not hurried. You are not lost. You are exactly where the river wants you. Your hands skim the water, tracing invisible lines across the surface. Ripples form, gentle and concentric, stretching outward as if echoing the unseen currents beneath. You feel your pulse mirror the water's movement, subtle and harmonious. Even the tiniest motions, breath, fingers, the shift of your legs are noticed, responded to, welcomed by the river. You realize that gravity, though unseen, is always present, shaping the flow, guiding it with soft authority. You imagine two travelers again. One drifts in a valley where time pools. The other rides the hill where the current stretches and thins. Both feel the river differently, yet both are safe, both are carried. Neither loses anything. Neither gains artificially. Time flows around them in proportion to their surroundings, and they move in peace, in perfect, gentle alignment with the universe. A tiny, soft humor drifts into your mind. Even the universe has preferences for shape and curve, but it does not fuss or nag. The pull of gravity, the bend of a current, the stretch of time, everything is deliberate and tender. You chuckle quietly to yourself. Your laughter mingles with the river's hum, a sound that is intimate, fleeting, and kind. The water flows, the river hums, and you feel delight at the subtle playfulness in the order of things. Your awareness drifts inward again. You feel the quiet clock within you, the heartbeat, the pulse, the rhythm of breath. The river moves around this clock, thickening the current where gravity is strong, elongating moments softly in the deeper stretches. You notice that even as the water grows heavier, it does not resist your presence. It accommodates, it nurtures, it responds. You breathe in deeply, chest rising. You exhale slowly, letting the current carry more than your body, letting it carry thought, memory, small tensions, anything unneeded. The rhythm syncs with the river, with gravity, with the gentle unfolding of time itself. You feel steady, serene, fully present. You watch reflections stretch across the deeper water. Light bends softly across the surface, glimmering in long streaks that waver with the subtle currents beneath. The surface mirrors the unseen, showing how depth transforms motion, how hidden weight changes flow, how gentle forces stretch moments in quiet, patient ways. You sense the metaphor fully. Time pools where it is needed, stretches where it is freed, and the river carries both the swift and the slow without judgment. Your inner clock adjusts naturally. You notice that your heartbeat lengthens slightly, not by force but by response, following the soft elongation of the river's deeper currents. Moments drift by more fully. Seconds feel like small pools of warm light, stretching and gathering in your awareness. Nothing is missing. Nothing is rushed. You are fully alive in every gentle stretch of the flow. You imagine that the river has been measured softly, quietly, across its length. Currents mapped, eddies noted, valleys and hills recorded with careful attention. The truth is there in the water itself, waiting to be noticed. Gravity deepens the river just as it deepens time. You sense this truth in the warmth of your chest, in the gentle tug beneath your legs, in the low hum of the current beneath your back. A gentle curiosity arises. If gravity shapes time, if depth alters the flow, what other forces shape the river you move through every day? You do not chase the answer. You do not need to. The question floats like a small leaf, drifting alongside you, perfectly content in its gentle place. You breathe in, then out, letting the thought elongate naturally, flowing with the river, carried by its quiet strength. Your awareness expands to the surrounding river. The deeper water hums beneath you, embracing, supporting, holding every curve and ripple. Your body feels simultaneously grounded and buoyant, anchored yet free. You sense the hidden geometry of the current, the careful shaping of unseen forces. Time itself seems to respond to weight and depth, slowing in valleys, stretching over hills soft and unhurried. You picture the travelers once more. One in the valley, one on the hill. Both age differently, both experience moments uniquely. Yet both are safe, both are understood, both are carried perfectly by the river's invisible hand. The beauty of it is quiet. It is patient. It is deeply, infinitely kind. Your breath elongates again, matching the soft pulse of the deeper water. The rhythm is perfect, unforced, endless. The river hums in quiet confirmation, carrying your body and your awareness in waves both slow and deep. A soft realization blooms. Time is shaped everywhere, all at once. Not just by motion, not just by your inner clock, but by the weight, the depth, the subtle curves of every force around you. You feel it in your bones, in the pull beneath your legs, in the gentle elongation of every heartbeat. The universe is both patient and precise, playful yet deliberate, infinitely kind. You float there, chest lifted slightly by the swell of the water. You drift into a wider stretch of the river, where the water moves with slow, even consistency, cradles you gently, carrying your weight effortlessly. The air is soft, warm, and humming faintly with the sound of the river's low, continuous pulse. You inhale, chest rising, and exhale, letting the gentle motion of the water carry not only your body but also the quiet drift of your thoughts. The river does not rush. It simply flows. You notice the subtle undulations of the current, small waves rising and falling beneath your fingertips. Each ripple is different, yet none is forced. Time, like the river, is flexible. Pools here, stretches there, bends and flows around obstacles without resistance. You realize that now is not a single point, not a strict line, not a universal measure. Each stretch of water carries its own present, its own rhythm, its own breath. A gentle warmth spreads in your chest as you float. You feel held, supported, cradled by the river. You are exactly where you are meant to be. There is no hurry, no expectation, no need to measure. The river accommodates your pace. It bends with your rhythm, stretches with your curiosity, hums softly as you drift in gentle awareness. You notice the surface, catching reflections of stars beginning to pierce the night sky. They shimmer softly on the water, tiny pinpricks of light stretched into long lines by gentle waves. Each reflection seems unique, just like each present moment. Even if two travelers look at the same stars, each sees them differently, each experiences them uniquely. This is not a limitation. It is a quiet freedom. Your inner clock, the heartbeat, the breath, the subtle pulse of your cells, beats in harmony with the current. It stretches slightly in response to the river's gentle flow, elongating moments without effort. You notice that your perception of time is not fixed. It responds to your presence, your motion, your awareness. You are not a passenger being carried blindly. You are a participant moving through a flexible now, softly, intentionally, gently. A tiny, playful thought drifts in. Perhaps the universe finds amusement in this quiet dance of perception. Even as currents differ, as inner clocks tick at unique rhythms, everything fits perfectly. The river does not scold. It does not compare. It simply carries, endlessly patient, endlessly kind. You smile softly at the thought, feeling your chest rise with warmth. You imagine drifting travelers again. One glides near the shore, time lingering around them like slow, luminous ripples. The other floats in the center, carried confidently by the main current, experiencing moments stretched differently. Both share the same river. Both share the same sky. Both exist fully in their own flexible now. Neither is rushed. Neither is left behind. Both are exactly where they belong. Your awareness drifts to the surface of the water. Ripples curve gently around small stones, leaves, and fallen branches. The current adapts, stretching and pooling as necessary, always maintaining harmony. You sense that time behaves the same way. It is not a rigid line. It is responsive, flexible, fluid. Your own experience of it flows in perfect proportion with your motion and your attention. You breathe deeply, chest rising and falling in tandem with the river. In. Each cycle elongates, softens, calms. The stretch of the present expands without effort, allowing your awareness to sink into the gentle pulse of the water. Even the smallest motions, your fingertips brushing the surface, your toes skimming a hidden current, align seamlessly with this flexible now. A gentle curiosity arises. How does living in a flexible now change how you feel about your life? You do not answer immediately. There is no rush. You allow the question to float alongside you, drifting like a leaf in the river. It is light, unobtrusive, present without pressing. The river carries it effortlessly, showing you that questions, like time, need not hurry toward answers. You notice warmth spreading in your body as you float. It is the warmth of understanding without pressure. The quiet comfort that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Even if your inner clock beats faster or slower than someone else's, the river allows both rhythms to coexist, soft and harmonious. No one is wrong. No one is late. No one is out of place. You watch a small leaf drift across the water. It spins briefly in an eddy, caught between two currents, before continuing along its path. The motion is gentle, unhurried, precise in its freedom. You feel a kinship with that leaf. You move through your own flexible now in the same way, aware, present, buoyed, softly guided. Each breath you take mirrors this rhythm, each heartbeat echoing the gentle pulse of the river. A tiny smile appears again, light and quiet. You imagine that even the stars above, reflected on the surface, move at their own pace. Yet everything fits, everything flows, everything is present. The universe does not demand that time be uniform. It is willing to bend, stretch, pool, and flow, allowing each traveler their own rhythm. You focus inward. You notice the pulse in your chest, your inner clock responding to the river's deep currents. Time is not chasing you. Time is not slipping away. Time is pliable, responsive, waiting. You are carried within it, moving gently, aligned with the river's natural pace. It is both expansive and intimate, a vast presence that feels deeply personal. The river curves ahead, widening further into calm, open stretches. You feel the water support your body entirely, carrying you with ease. Your thoughts drift freely, untethered, responding to neither urgency nor expectation. You notice the subtle hum of the deeper current, almost like a soft lullaby. It speaks without words, teaching you that the present is not singular. It is flexible, responsive, alive. You are exactly where you need to be. Your breath softens, long and deliberate. In. The river's pulse matches your own, the flow and the rhythm synchronized. You feel the quiet comfort of understanding, of presence, of motion and stillness perfectly aligned. Time, as you float here, is not a line or a number. It is a river you inhabit, soft, flexible, kind. A gentle question lingers. How does this flexible now shape your own life? You do not push for an answer. It floats beside you, soft as a cloud drifting across water. You sense it will unfold naturally, just as the river unfolds around your body, guiding you steadily, serenely, forward. The current hums beneath you. You feel your pulse elongate, your inner clock stretching softly. The wider river prepares to carry you into the next lesson. Ahead lies the gentle reflection that aging is a whisper, not a race. A next curve in the current where the river teaches with quiet patience. You float toward it, calm, steady, present in your own flexible now. The river flows. You drift. You arrive gently at the next bend, ready to learn how time whispers in motion and how each moment carries its own perfect, patient rhythm. You float deeper into the river, feeling the current stretch and sway around your body. It carries you gently, like a small boat gliding over calm waters. The surface reflects soft evening light, stretching across ripples like delicate threads of gold and silver. You inhale slowly, letting your chest rise, and exhale, letting the current carry away tension you didn't know you held. The river hums beneath you, a quiet, steady song, and you feel at peace. You consider the idea of aging. It is not a rush, not a relentless tide, not something to fight. It is a gentle whisper, a soft unfolding of moments, a current that moves alongside you rather than chasing you. Your heartbeat measures it, your breath reflects it, your cells drift in harmony with its rhythm. Even when the river carries you faster, the inner clock stretches, elongates, flows, without fear or loss. You notice two travelers in the distance. One floats leisurely near the shore, moving slowly, feeling time gather around them like warm water pooling in a shallow bend. The other glides through the middle, faster. Yet the river responds, elongating moments, stretching each heartbeat into something spacious and tender. Both experience time differently, yet both are safe, both are whole, both are drifting peacefully. You smile softly, noticing the freedom in this truth. There is no single right pace, no universal measure. A gentle warmth blooms in your chest. You feel connected to the rhythm of the river and to your own inner clock. Even as the current carries you forward, you are fully present, fully aware, fully aligned. You inhale again, slow and deliberate, feeling your breath mingle with the soft hum of the water. You exhale, letting the river carry away any lingering sense of pressure or comparison. You notice the surface ripple differently here, stretching around small stones and floating leaves. The river itself is patient, bending for each traveler, shaping moments with subtle care. Time does not hurry. Time does not scold. Time simply flows, adjusting to motion, presence, and awareness. You realize that aging, too, is a flow, responsive, gentle, and infinitely kind. A quiet, playful thought drifts into your mind. Perhaps the river is aware of its own teaching. It nudges, it curves, it stretches, yet it never rushes. It shows that life, like time, can move quickly or slowly, but all movement is valid. You laugh softly, chest rising and falling with the current, feeling a connection to the subtle humor of existence. You return your attention inward, to your own heartbeat, your own breathing, your own pulse. The inner clock ticks softly, elongating naturally in response to the river. You notice that even as the current moves faster, your perception of each moment stretches, allowing you to drift through life gently. The river carries you forward, and the universe allows the same for everyone else. No one is left behind. No one is hurried. All rhythms coexist harmoniously. You observe small eddies forming near the banks. Time pools there, lingering like warm sunlight on smooth stones. You imagine your own life moving in similar pools, where moments gather, deepen, and breathe. You can rest in them, you can linger, and you are still moving forward. The river supports it all. You are safe, cared for, and free to experience your own tempo. You think of the faster stretches again, where the current pulls swiftly but not harshly. You imagine that here, time stretches in response, elongating moments into long, calm waves. Your body responds, chest lifting gently, breath deepening. Even movement at speed does not rob you of calm. It only shifts the shape of your experience, as the river molds moments according to motion, awareness, and presence. A soft warmth spreads through your hands, fingertips skimming the surface. Ripples form, concentric, gentle, and precise. The motion is small, almost playful, yet entirely meaningful. You realize that time, like the river, responds to touch, awareness, presence, and intention. The inner clock adapts quietly, elongating or contracting in harmony with the flow. Nothing is forced, nothing is lost, nothing is hurried. You inhale slowly, chest rising, ribs expanding. You exhale fully, letting the river carry the weight of thought, the tiny tensions you've held, the questions you've carried for too long. Each breath is a wave, a gentle undulation, an echo of the soft currents surrounding you. You feel your inner clock align perfectly with the rhythm of the river. Each moment stretches, a whisper of time, gentle, slow, serene. You imagine drifting like this for hours, days, lifetimes even. Time does not press. It does not judge. Carries you, molds with you, flows alongside you. The whisper of aging becomes a lullaby, a gentle companion rather than a relentless taskmaster. You feel your chest warm with understanding, your limbs light with calm. A tiny, tender humor drifts through your mind. Perhaps the universe smiles at the idea that speeding up or slowing down does not change the essence of life. Moments shift, stretch, fold, elongate, yet the core remains gentle, serene, intact. You laugh softly, letting the sound ripple across the water, unnoticed but fully felt. The river hums with you, acknowledging your understanding with its quiet, continuous song. You return your awareness to the present. The river curves ahead, flowing into gentle bends, small pools, and open stretches. You feel the motion under your body, the hum beneath your chest, the warm brush of air on your face. Even as the current moves faster, you notice the elongated heartbeat, the soft pulse of your inner clock. The flow of time, the whisper of aging, is perfectly aligned with your presence here. You float silently for a few moments, letting the current carry you, letting the river mold the shape of each second. You realize that you are both moving and still, both young and old, both fully alive in this gentle river of moments. There is no rush. There is no comparison. There is only the whisper, the elongation, the soft unfolding of life's gentle current. You glance at the reflections on the surface. Stars appear faintly, stretched by subtle ripples, flickering with quiet patience. You imagine that each star, like each traveler, has its own pace, its own rhythm, its own elongation of moments. The universe allows all of them to coexist. You too are allowed. Your inner clock, your heartbeat, your breath, all are respected, supported, and carried forward gently. A soft curiosity drifts in. Where does this river ultimately lead? You do not press the question. It floats alongside you, calm, patient, like a small leaf drifting across a pool. The answer is not needed yet. It will unfold in its own time, in its own gentle way, as the river continues to carry you along its course. You breathe slowly, letting your chest rise and fall in perfect rhythm with the water. In. The river hums beneath you, a quiet, steady song that carries your body, your mind, your inner clock. The whisper of aging is no longer a source of concern. It is a companion, a soft, patient current flowing alongside you. The water curves gently ahead, preparing to carry you into the next lesson. You sense that the current is softening, slowing in preparation for a moment of reflection. The river bends quietly, ready to teach you about the final connections: motion, aging, rest, and the shared flow of the universe. You float, serene, warm, and fully present.